14th of September 1944, day 45 of the Warsaw Uprising. Soviet troops are finally on the eastern side of Warsaw's riverbank in the Praga district. In the Warsaw Zoo, they're quite literally fighting between the cages with German soldiers. Panic starts to grip the German high command and troops here, and they start to accelerate their mass theft of valuables from Warsaw City. So Soviet troops have arrived. They are the allies of Poland's allies. They're fighting against a common enemy. So you'd assume that they would be here to help. Wrong. The supplies that the Russians are dropping are often dropped without parachutes, unlike the Allied bombers' supplies. And they fly in from 1,000 feet and quite literally explode on the ground, meaning all the food and equipment inside is destroyed. But at least Stalin can say that he is trying to send supplies in. When the Russian frontline troops arrive in Praga, the locals, who are understandably delighted to finally have seen the Germans off after so many years of oppression and tyranny, celebrate with those troops. However, behind the front line are the NKVD, the forerunner of the Russian KGB. And in a pattern that would be repeated across Poland, they start to look for Home Army soldiers, and when they find them, they arrest them. They arrest the officers, and then they press gang the Home Army soldiers, privates, corporals, etc., into the Red Army. In Cherniakov, the Radosław group comes under constant heavy bombardment from artillery and air attacks. They're running low on ammunition, just 20 rounds for every heavy machine gun, 20 for every submachine gun, and between 50 and 100 rounds for each of the rifles. They just simply do not have the ammunition to keep fighting. To Stalin, the Polish Home Army weren't soldiers, as had been recognised by the British and the Americans, and even by now the Germans. And he continues to use the term partisan or terrorist when he's talking about the Polish Home Army to Churchill and Roosevelt. And his military intelligence and NKVD officers knew exactly what to tell Stalin when they sent reports back to him. They were telling him that the Home Army were actually cooperating with the Germans, not fighting against them. It's just this terrible, tragic irony that the people who you were supposed to be fighting with against a common enemy were actually also your enemy. Thank you very much for watching this episode of 63 Days of Extraordinary Courage. In tomorrow's episode, I'll tell you the story of the women who fought alongside the men in Poland's Home Army. Don't forget to tune into that episode at 5 PM Warsaw time, 11 AM Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.